Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Meyer Studios Sketchbook Live. My name is Cindy, and this is my husband Jason, and we are running the show tonight. Miss Izzy has the night off, so we are taking it over for her. So in the meantime, Jason is going to be taking a portion of a still life that he actually has sketched and is going to be painting, starting the painting this week, and a little bit more of a focus on an area, how you can take a smaller section and really bring it to life. So in the meantime, we're glad you guys could join us. Grab your pencils and your paper, and you've got a little lesson coming from Mr. Meyer.
In the muscle shirt. It's hot here.
It's hot.
It's hot, so.
We're not telling Jenny anything.
Yeah, I'm not trying to show off my big muscles. So welcome everybody. So tonight, what we're going to do is this week is going to be a little bit different. These last couple of weeks of this month is kind of the close of everything we've done through the pandemic and the lockdown. We started a class out of that. And so to close it off, I'm going to be working on a portrait, a landscape, and a still life at 3 different times. So there'll be 3 demos to see me work all the way through it. And that starts tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. and we'll be on YouTube for that. So as kind of a thank you for everybody tuning in, if you'd like, you can tune in and check those out. And that's going to be every Monday through Wednesday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday will be portrait. Tuesday will be landscape, moon rising over Avila. And then Wednesday will be the still life. This week we're going to get started. And then next week I'll paint. And the week after that we'll refine. So you'll get to see these things really develop. If you're into that kind of thing. I think some of you might be. Maybe Katie's into some of that. Hey, Katie, good to see you. Good to see you. Is that succulents or cacti and chicken?
Looks like cactus.
Or is that a rooster? I don't know. Anyway, good looking avatar there, Rini.
Hi, guys.
All right, so what we're going to do tonight is this is the still life we sketched. And what I want to do is I want to talk just about the pear to start with and how simple that is. And then I want to talk about how we make it more. Sometimes when we're just trying to draw the object and we're focused on that, we don't realize that it's the other objects in there that take off some of that weight of it needing to be quote unquote correct. So let's play with that a little bit. So we're going to turn over and we're going to look at this right here and this pear in particular. Looks like Miss Claudia made it.
Hi, Claudia.
Good evening. Did your new pup give you an evening off? Did you get a little evening off?
She's like, no, I can hear her.
I know. She's like, why didn't you bring it up? Or she's smiling ear to ear, one of the two. Okay, so let's talk about a pear and let's break it down. And I'm not going to go over this whole thing, but real simple, we can think of a pear as a cylinder fitting into a sphere. So if this light is coming down like this, that cylinder will be shadowed like that. This sphere will be shadowed like that. Okay, this will have a cast shadow, and that'll have a cast shadow. So if we combine those, what's that going to look like? Well, if I had a sphere here, and I put that does that start looking a little bit like a pear? So you see this shape is very interesting, but I'm going to call your attention to something. It's very important to know whether the sphere is in front or behind of the cylinder. And in this one, the sphere is behind. So one way we'll show that is we'll let that go up, and then we're just going to let that be a little bit as that air kind of comes through there. So that little piece right there turns out to be very, very important. And then what other piece can we use to connect these? Well, right here we've got this shadow. Then we're going to have a cast shadow onto this part of the pear. And I think it would be a mistake to wrap that around, because it's just going to get too woo, woo, and there's not much structure. But if we gave this cast shadow kind of a hard, straight edge until it met the form shadow, I think that's going to make a big difference on how this looks. One last thing I'm going to do is, because that's going to end up being kind of a straight edge right there, and that doesn't necessarily look good, we can give this thing just a little bit of a gesture. And then don't forget our cast shadow. Ends with a hard edge. If you're watching close, I was sticking my tongue out. I was concentrating.
You lucked out. You're under the hat brim.
I was going, we should have some reward for whoever catches me sticking my tongue out.
It'd probably be Claudia.
Yeah, along with the snorting. Okay, so then how else can we play this up? But what about that stem? Can you see then all of a sudden, if we don't make everything such a big deal, you got a pear. Okay, and so then we see a cherry there. So if I do the cherry here, and it casts a shadow, and it has a stem. How is that? That's not very descriptive, is it? That cherry doesn't look very woohoo, or whatever we want to say. Guess we could go ahead and let's just play this out for a second. So the highlight would be here on the corner. Follow this up a little bit. And then it would be there. Highlight on the cherry would be about right there. So you see our whites bouncing around a little bit, so that's cool. Could also do a little just on the top of that, couldn't we, if we wanted to? If we wanted to, if we were that kind of people. And then the stem would cast a shadow. Around like that. So we got something like that. So, as we head into this painting then, it's a good idea, how can we get more out of this? Because if you're around when we talked about the composition, this area of the painting, we need that to be a pause. We need to slow it down. Well, one thing we could do is extend these darks with those silver dollar eucalyptus like we said. Okay, so that makes things more interesting. We could make this thing more solid by putting a shadow right next to it. You see how that then pops the pear? So part of what we're doing is this cherry is a thing in front of the pear, and then the pear is in front of that and those. So we're creating some depth. So how might we make the most out of this And that's what we're going to draw tonight. And I want you guys to see how amazingly actually simple it is to take some basic information and make it into, oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
But the key is you've got to slow down and solve the problems that matter and not get mesmerized by problems that do not matter. Well, I guess you could put a chocolate kiss in there too. That'd be all right. It'd probably sell faster than a cherry, I would think. I'd buy it quicker, I think. That might be a good idea if we need a little silver. And okay, I'm getting off the subject. You're distracting me, Reenie. What are you doing?
Squirrel. I want chocolate.
Funny. All right, so we all on board? So we've got some basic little things in here. And then along with these, we're doing the idea of a silhouette of something. And what you're going to see me do, my basic little trick right here, is if this is the shadow, I'm going to drop down here, and I'm going to separate this cast shadow from that cast shadow. And that little piece, you see how it's missing here? If we leave that little bitty piece of light, it's going to instantly give us depth. Okay, and then one other trick I'm going to do is I'm going to add a shadow here in the foreground before we get to the light. So what that's going to do is it's going to set up a series of dark, light, dark, light, dark, light, dark. Now everything we do is a light dark pattern of some sense. And what I'm going to show you tonight is if you arrange your light dark patterns in such a way, you can create depth. All right, so enough talking. Get to work, Jason. All right, my goodness, you guys are tough. So let's give our cylinder a little bit of a turn, a little bit of a curve. Right, and we don't, pears in nature aren't perfect. This pear actually has kind of a little bump on that side. It kind of gives it a little booty, a little pear booty there, and then it turns the corner under before we turn up and under like that. So we want to try to feel our way around here, and then that's going to come up. All right, remember that's our cylinder. See how we can feel our way through this? You can draw around, soft marks. So we're going around like this. We're going to go up and around and around. Right? We want all these dimensions going through. We've got our cast shadow. And then what did I say was important? I said we need to skip down here for the cast shadow of the cherry.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, this is what's important. So guess what I start drawing? Now you got everybody hungry, Reenie. Oh man. All right. Good thing I had dinner right before I came on. Now I want dessert. I had dessert, but I want more dessert now. All right, do you guys see that happen? So now we have one thing and space, and then another thing. And then we're going to have light, and then we're going to have another dark back here. So I promised some foreground shadow. So is this already appearing to have more depth than that? And that is simply by separating those shadows. Boom. And oftentimes now you can actually see it in here, can't you? Whoop. You see there's a cast shadow of the cherry, then there's a little bit of light before we have the cast shadow of the pear.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. And look how that leaf just extends that shadow. All I'm doing is making it the same value. But what have I done different? What have I done different? Well, I've made my cast shadow on the table much skinnier, much slimmer, much longer than it actually is, to give, again, a sense of depth. The wider I make it, the more shallow the space becomes. Okay, and when I say wider, I'm talking tall, really. Because if I go and make this way up here, what I do is I start losing this shape, just like I lost this shape. So by doing that, that's showing the difference between things that are laying down and then the things that are standing up. Okay, so we've got a pear laying down. The cherry sitting on the table. And the cast shadow here in the foreground. So that cherry's like a silhouette. And if we're a little careful with the shape of it, again, a lot of what we talked about last time when we talked was nuance in class. We were talking in class about it's the basic, but we do it with finer nuance. Just like instead of going exactly vertical, if I go at a slight angle, that creates more movement. Leave room for the highlight. And then let that stem have a gesture as well. Right, so I didn't do anything fancy. This is just a dark shape. I just took my time and really considered what I was doing and how I might improve upon that. And art really is so much more about this kind of slowing down and taking your time and knowing which decisions to make, what to work on and what to leave. All right, so we're going to let that turn there. And then we're going to have this stem we have a little elbow like that. That'll turn under. We got a soft edge happening here. Have a hard edge happening there. Till we have the soft edge back up here. Then that turns under just a little. Right, so again, it gives some variety to the shape rather than being just a, and then we're going to pick up it back again where, let's see, we're going to go up and around and then let's come down. We can describe that with that leaf. Rather than something general, let's really think about that contour. And then the next thing we're going to do where that's going to open a little bit there. Okay, so what we got here, this is going to be a hard edge coming around. We're going to go out, turn that corner a little bit, go up. Okay, how much more depth is here than here? And it's not because we did anything fancy, it was because we took very good care of our dark shape. Right? We were good stewards of our dark shape. You can be proud of me, Mama. Yeah, that's not too difficult. Look, we have 15 minutes. Oof, what am I going to do with the rest of the time? What am I going to do? So then how would we play this out to the nth degree? Well, we know that whatever's foreground needs to be lighter and darker than what's background. And what we're saying foreground and background here, we're talking aesthetic foreground, aesthetic background. This is our foreground. So let's make that tabletop, that in-between value. And what's one way we go back? We can go a little more, meaning slightly darker and richer, to a little bit lighter and grayer back there. Now it's not going to get confused with the shadow or the light, but that's going to help define that pear. And then with our background, again aesthetic background, but this time also picture plane background, we too will use that at that in-between value for our background. Again, it's going to really show off our pear. I mean, it's a good looking pear. Who would, I'd show it off. I grew that thing. If I picked that thing up at the market, I'd show it off. You guys think I'm kidding, but I'm serious. I get into fruit. The aesthetics of fruit. Yeah? It's working out? And was there anything tricky? No. It's literally just taking the time and then giving up those beliefs of, oh, I can never do it, or I don't understand. Right? Or it looks like this and I don't see it. No, it's a pattern of dark made with burnt wood. That's all. It ain't no thing. So don't make it a thing. Right, sweetie?
Yes.
Isn't that our motto? It ain't no thing. It ain't nothing. Right? Smudge. Who doesn't want to smudge? Come on. Well, I guess if you're kind of a clean freak, you probably don't want to see this, but if you're not a clean freak, come on. Who doesn't want to do this?
Susan didn't like it.
I know. She doesn't like the feel of it.
Oh.
Yeah. And I can get it. I understand that. But still, it looks fun. So when we do our painting this week, and you'll see this in the demonstration, that's huge. And it's simply little bitty things like this and making them clear. Rather than getting a perfect outline of the pear or being able to capture something or draw this, but understanding that what kind of marks on what kind of sequences do what for the viewer. That sound pretty abstract?
A little bit.
I lost myself there. Oof. But really, you're just, what I'm saying is don't try to draw a tabletop. Try a dark mark and then go for a gray mark, then a dark mark, and then a gray mark, and then a dark mark, and then a light tone of the paper, and then dark and gray. Boom, 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 kaboom. Right? But that's really what we're composing there. We're composing a symphony. We're orchestrating marks. And it's really as simple as that, and I don't know, I don't need any more than that. It's fun. It's fun. Wait, any comments or something? I
Timer
lost something.
decided to refresh itself.
Did it really? Did I even set that or did I not set that?
No, I set it. I let it go, but we were down to like, I don't know, 7 minutes.
Oh, yes, 7:25. So we'll wrap this up in just a second. Highlight happens on the corners, the front plane, the side plane. It might trickle down here a little bit before we go up here. Okay, and then on even like these little forms here. That same idea, just let that get a little bit. Just a little bit. A little bit of that fuzz. A little bit of that fuzz. All right, guys, I think we'll leave that there. Again, a very, very powerful lesson, and you can use this in almost anything. But when you have a chance to separate those shadows, do it. A lot of times if something's throwing a shadow on the wall, people will go ahead and just throw that shadow straight down, but you don't realize what you're giving up here, right? If you need that big flat, but usually to have, a horizontal and then a vertical, that's going to make a better visual image from basically eye level. All right, how's that? Good? Did we do good?
I think that's good.
All right. So, what are we not forgetting? Oh, yeah, so tomorrow morning, we're going to start the demos, and it'll be the lay-ins, and I'm going to be doing these much closer to how I work. Because we've done so much study on this, I'm going to show you why we do so much study ahead of time. And we do it so that when we do the painting, we are free.
Yeah.
We're not even thinking about all that stuff that we've been, wait, I got this and I blind. It's time to paint. So tune in to see that happen. That's going to happen Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Yeah.
So yeah, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. And starting August 2nd, our class is going to slow down and we're going to go through color and composition and talk about these little things that give you a powerful painting. We're going to do that for 6 weeks before we paint. Then we're going to spend 6 weeks painting. So it's going to be very, very nice. All right, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Anything else, sweetie?
Nope.
Did we catch it all?
We got it all. See you guys in the morning. Thanks for joining us.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.